Hi, Sunanda. Hi, Lito. Hi, John.
Hi.
Snowy. I see Ganga. Very good to see you all. There, we had a really good karma yoga day today. John, I didn't see you by the time I came back. You were gone.
We finished both of our tests, and we had a conference we had to go to today.
Yep, we had I think altogether 12 volunteers, which was really nice. So we got a lot of weeding, brush clearing, cleaning banisters of the temple, and getting all that done. It's great. It's great, and it's so pretty outside right now too. It's just gorgeous. How's it down in Irvine Way, Sunanda?
It's nice. It's, nice and temperate.
Lito, do you concur?
Yes, I do.
Good.
Very mild.
Ganga, how's it in humid Florida?
Today was actually a gorgeous day. Super
Ah,
nice.
good. We all scored. We all scored in Boston and in, let's see, I got a text from a friend this morning in New Hampshire who said it was snowing. Oh, sorry, man. Raining, snowing in Massachusetts, so we can appreciate it while we can. Okay, let us go back. And we are in a visit to Nanda Bosa's house. And I'm trying to see the date. July 28th, 1885. Sri Ramakrishna had returned to Balaram's house. He was resting in the small room to the west of the drawing room. It was quite late, almost 11:15. Sri Ramakrishna said to Jogan, "Please rub my feet gently." M was sitting nearby. While Jogan was rubbing his feet, the master said suddenly, "I feel hungry. I shall eat some farina pudding." The Brahmani had accompanied the master and the devotees to Balaram's house. Her brother knew how to play the drums. Sri Ramakrishna said, "It will serve our purpose to send for her brother when Narendra or some other singer wants to sing." Sri Ramakrishna ate a little pudding. Jogan and the other devotees left the room. M was stroking the master's feet. They talked together. Master, referring to the Brahmani and her relatives, "Ah, how happy they were." M, how amazing. A similar thing happened with two women at the time of Jesus. They too were sisters devoted to Christ, Martha and Mary. Master, eagerly, "Tell me the story." M, Jesus Christ, like you, went to their house with his devotees. At the sight of him, one of the sisters was filled with ecstatic happiness. It reminds me of a song about Gauranga. My two eyes sank in the sea of Gaura's heavenly beauty, did not come back to me again. Down went my mind as well, forgetting how to swim. The other sister, all by herself, was arranging the food to entertain Jesus. She complained to the master, saying, "Lord, please judge for yourself how wrong my sister is. She is sitting in your room, and I'm doing all these things by myself." Jesus said, "Your sister indeed is blessed. She has developed the only thing needful in human life, love of God." Master, well, after saying all this, what do you feel? M, I feel that Christ, Chaitanya Devi, and yourself, all three, are one and the same. It is the same person that has become all these three. Master, yes, one. It is indeed one. Don't you see that it is he alone who dwells here in this way? By here he means in this body. As he said this, Sri Ramakrishna pointed with his finger to his own body. M, you explained clearly the other day how God incarnates himself on earth. Master, tell me what I said. Sri Ramakrishna often tested M this way because he knew that it would be M who, like 20 years later, would, not 20 years, the last volume of the Katamrita would be 25 years later, but that he would write down all his memories, and these will be recorded in the Gospel. Master, tell me what I said. M, you told us to imagine a field extending to the horizon and beyond. It extends without any obstruction, but we cannot see it on account of a wall in front of us. In that wall there's a round hole. Through the hole we see a part of that infinite field. Master, tell me what that hole is. M, you are that hole. Through you can be seen everything, the infinite meadow without any end. Ramakrishna was very much pleased. Patting M's back, he said, I see you have understood that. That's fine. M. It is indeed difficult to understand that. One cannot quite grasp how God, perfect Brahman that he is, can dwell in that small body. The master quoted from a song, Oh, no one at all has found out who he is. Like a madman from door to door he roams, like a poor beggar he roams from door to door. M. You also told us about Jesus. Master, what did I say? M. You went into Samadhi at the sight of Jesus Christ's picture in Jadu Malik's garden house. You saw Jesus come down from the picture and merge in your body. Ramakrishna was silent a few moments. Then he said to M, Perhaps there's a meaning in all that has happened to my throat, referring to the sore in his throat. This has happened lest I should make myself light before all, lest I should go to all sorts of places and sing and dance. Ramakrishna began to talk about Dvija. Master, he didn't come today. Why? M. I asked him to come. He said he would. I don't know why he didn't. Master, he has great yearning. Well, he must be someone belonging to this, that is, belonging to the circle of the Master's intimate devotees. M. Yes, sir, it must be so. Otherwise, how could he have such yearning? Ramakrishna lay down inside the mosquito curtain. M. fanned him. The Master turned on his side. He told M. how God incarnates himself in a human body. He told him further about his, M's, spiritual ideal. Master, at the beginning, I too passed through such states, and I did not see divine forms. Even now, I don't see them often. M. Among all the forms God chooses for his Leela, I like best his play as a human being. Master, that is enough, and you are seeing me. And that is the end of that chapter. Now we move on to August 9th, 1885, the Master on himself and his experiences. Ramakrishna was sitting in his room at Dakshineshwar. Rakhal, M., Dvija, and his father, and other devotees were present. It was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. After returning from Vrindavan, Rakhal had spent a few days at home. Now he was staying with the Master. Latu, Harish, and Ramla were also staying at the temple garden. Ramakrishna was not well. In the beginning of his illness, subsequently diagnosed as fatal. It was the beginning of the illness, subsequently diagnosed as the fatal cancer. But this did not disturb the serenity of his mind. Day and night he had only one thought, and that was the spiritual welfare of his devotees. He was guiding them toward the attainment of God. He encouraged them constantly to cultivate knowledge and devotion and warned them of the snares of lust and greed. He was completely indifferent to his own illness and devoted himself wholeheartedly to the fulfillment of his earthly mission. Dvija was about 16 years old. After the death of his mother, his father had married a second time. Dvija often accompanied M to Dakshineshwar, but his father did not approve of it. Dvija's father had for a long time been speaking of visiting Sri Ramakrishna. Today he had come to Dakshineshwar. He was the manager of a business firm in Calcutta and had passed his examination in law. Master, to Dvija's father, please don't mind your children's coming here. I ask people to live in the world after the awakening of their spiritual consciousness. After extracting gold through hard labor, a man may keep it under earth or in a box or underwater. The gold is not affected. I ask people to live in the world in a spirit of detachment. If you break the jackfruit after rubbing oil on your hands, its sticky juice will not smear them. If the unripe mind dwells in the world, the mind gets soiled. One should first attain knowledge and then live in the world. If you put milk in water, the milk is spoiled. But this will not happen if butter, churned from the milk, is put in butter. Dvija's father, that is true, sir. Master smiling, I know why you scold your children. You only threaten them. The brahmachari said to the snake, You are a fool indeed. I forbade you to bite, but not to hiss. Your enemies would not have beaten you if you'd only hissed at them. Your scolding of the children is really a hissing. Dvija's father smiles. A good son is an indication of his father's spiritual nature. If good water comes out when a reservoir is dug, it only indicates the virtue of the owner. A son is called Atmaja, the self-reborn. There is no difference between you and your son. In a way, you yourself are reborn as your son. In one sense, you're a worldly person, working in a business office and enjoying your worldly life. In another sense, you are a devotee of God, in the form of your son. I heard that you were a very worldly person, but I find it isn't so. Smiling, you know all this. I understand you are very circumspect. Perhaps that's why you are nodding your assent to what I'm saying. Dweeja's father smiles. If your children visit this place, they will be able to know what you really are, how precious one's father is. If a person deceives his father and mother in order to seek religion, he gets only worthless trash. A man is born with several debts. Debts to his father, the Devas, and the Rishis. Besides, there is his debt to his mother. He also has a debt to his wife. She must be supported. If the wife is chaste, the husband must provide for her after his death. I could not live at Vrindavan on account of my mother. When I remembered that my mother was living in the temple garden at Dakshineshwar, I could not feel peaceful at Vrindavan. I ask people to live in the world and at the same time fix their minds on God. I don't ask them to give up the world. I say fulfill your worldly duties and also think of God. Dweeja's father, I tell my children that they should attend to their studies. I don't forbid them to come to you, but I don't want them to waste time in frivolities with the youngsters. Master, referring to Dweeja, this boy has been born with some good tendencies. Why are the two other brothers so different from him? Why is he alone spiritually minded? Will you be able to compel him not to visit this place? Sooner or later, everyone unfolds his inborn tendencies. Dweeja's father, yes, that is true. Ramakrishna came down from the couch and sat on the floor beside Dweeja's father. While talking to him, he touched him now and then. It was nearly evening. Ramakrishna asked M and the others to show Dweeja's father the temples. He said to them, I should have accompanied him myself if I were well. He asked someone to give sweets to the young men and said to Dweeja's father, let the children have a little refreshment. It is customary. Dweeja's father visited the temples and the images and took a stroll in the garden. Ramakrishna engaged himself happily in conversation with Bhupen, Dweeja, M, and others on the southeast porch of his room. He playfully slapped Bhupen and M on the back. He said to Dweeja with a laugh, how I talk to your father. Dweeja's father returned to Ramakrishna's room after dusk. He intended to leave shortly. He was feeling hot. Ramakrishna fanned him himself. In a few minutes, the father took leave of the master. Ramakrishna stood up to bid him farewell. It was 8 o'clock. Ramakrishna was talking to Mahimacharan. Rakhal, M, and one or two companions of Mahimacharan were in the room. Mahimacharan was going to spend the night at the temple garden. Master to Mahima, well, how do you find Kedar? Has he only seen milk or has he drunk it too? Mahima, yes, he is enjoying bliss. Master, Nityagopal? Mahima, very good. He's in a lofty state of mind. Master, yes, what about Girish Ghosh? Mahima, he too has developed nicely, but he belongs to another class. Master, and Narendra? Mahima, he is now in the state I was in 15 years ago. Master, the younger Naren? How guileless he is. Mahima, yes, quite guileless. Master, you are right. Reflecting a little, let me see who else. It will be sufficient for these youngsters who come here. It will be sufficient for the youngsters who come here if they know only two things. If they know these, they will not have to practice much discipline and austerity. First, who I am, and second, who they are. Many of the youngsters belong to the inner circle. Those belonging to the inner circle will not attain liberation. I shall have to assume a human body again in the northwesterly direction. I feel peace of mind when I see these youngsters. How can I feel joy at the sight of those who have begotten children and are engaged in lawsuits and are involved in lust and greed? How could I live without seeing pure-souled persons? Mahimacharan recited some texts from the scriptures. He also described various mystic rites of the Tantra. Master, well, some say that my soul, going into samadhi, flies about like a bird in the Mahakasha, the infinite space. Once a sadhu of Rishikesh came here. He said to me, There are 5 kinds of samadhi. I find you have experienced them all. In these samadhis, one feels the sensation of the spiritual current to be like the movement of an ant, a fish, a monkey, a bird, or a serpent. Sometimes the spiritual current rises through the spine, crawling like an ant. Sometimes in samadhi, the soul swims joyfully in the ocean of divine ecstasy like a fish. Sometimes when I lie down on my side, I feel the spiritual current pushing me like a monkey and playing with me joyfully. I remain still. That current, like a monkey, suddenly with one jump reaches the Sahasrara. That's the one on the top of the head. And that is why you see me jump with a start. Sometimes again, the spiritual current rises like a bird hopping from one branch to the other. The place where it rests feels like fire. It may hop from Muladhara to Svadhisthana, from Svadhisthana to the heart, and thus gradually to the head. Sometimes the spiritual current moves up like a snake, going in a zigzag way. It at last reaches the head, and I go into samadhi. A man's spiritual consciousness is not awakened unless his kundalini is aroused. The kundalini dwells in the Muladhara. When it is aroused, it passes along the Sushumna nerve, going through the centers of Svadhisthana, Manipura, and so on, and at last reaches the head. This is called the movement of the Mahavayu, the spiritual current. It culminates in samadhi. One's spiritual consciousness is not awakened by the mere reading of books. One should also pray to God. The kundalini is aroused if the aspirant feels restless for God. To talk of knowledge from mere study and hearsay, what will it accomplish? Just before my attaining the state of mind, it has been revealed to me how the kundalini is aroused, how the lotuses of the different centers blossom forth, and how it all culminates in samadhi. This is a very secret experience. I saw a boy 22 or 23 years old, exactly resembling me, enter the Sushumna nerve and commune with the lotuses, touching them with his tongue. He began at the center at the anus and passed through the centers of the sexual organ, navel, and so on. The different lotuses of those centers, 4-petaled, 6-petaled, 10-petaled, and so forth, had been drooping. At his touch, they stood erect. When he reached the heart, I distinctly remember it, and communed with the lotus there, touching it with his tongue, the 12-petaled lotus, which was hanging head down, stood erect and opened its petals. Then he came to the 16 lotus in the throat and the 2-petaled lotus in the forehead, and last of all, the 1,000-petaled lotus in the head blossomed. Since then, I had been in this state. Sri Ramakrishna came down to the floor and sat near Mahimacharan, and a few other devotees were near him. Rakhal was also in the room. Master Mahima, for a long time I've wanted to tell you my spiritual experiences, but I could not. I feel like telling you today. You say that by mere sadhana, one can attain a state of mind like mine, but it is not so. There's something special here, referring to himself. Rakhal, M., and others became eager to hear what the Master was going to say. Master, God talked to me. It was not merely his vision. Yes, he talked to me under the banyan tree. I saw him coming from the Ganges. Then we laughed so much. By way of playing with me, he cracked my fingers. Then he talked. He talked to me. For 3 days I wept continuously, and he revealed to me what is in the Vedas, the Puranas, the Tantras, and other scriptures. One day he showed me the Maya of Mahamaya. A small light inside a room began to grow. At last it enveloped the whole universe. Furthermore, he revealed to me a huge reservoir covered with green scum. The wind moved a little of the scum, and immediately the water became visible. But in the twinkling of an eye, scum from all sides came dancing in, and again covered the water. He revealed to me that the water was like Satchidananda, and the scum is like Maya. On account of Maya, Satchidananda is not seen, though now and then one may get a glimpse of it, and then again Maya covers it. God reveals the nature of the devotees to me before they arrive. I saw Chaitanya's party singing and dancing near the Panchavati, between the banyan tree and the bakul tree. I noticed Balaram there. If it weren't for him, who would be there to supply me with sugar candy and such things? Pointing to him. I saw him too. I had seen Kesha before I actually met him. I had seen him and his party in my samadhi. In front of me sat a room full of men. Keshab looked like a peacock sitting with his tail spread out. The tail meant his followers. I saw a red gem on Keshab's head that indicated his rajas. He said to his disciples, please listen to what he, that's the master, is saying. I said to the Divine Mother, Mother, these people hold the views of Englishmen. Why should I talk to them? Then the mother explained to me that it would be like this in the Kali Yuga. Keshab and his followers got from here, that means himself, the names of Hari and the Divine Mother. That is why the Divine Mother took Vijay away from Keshab's party. But Vijay did not join the Adi Samaj. That's a different section of the Brahmo Samaj. Pointing to himself, there must be something special here. Long ago, a young man named Gopal Sen used to visit me. He who dwells in me placed his foot on Gopal's chest. Gopal said in an ecstatic mood, you will have to wait here a long time. I cannot live any more with worldly people. He took leave of me. Afterwards, I heard that he was dead. Perhaps he was born as Nitya Gopal. I have seen many amazing visions. I've had the vision of the indivisible Satchidananda. Inside it, I saw two groups of devotees with a fence between them. On one side were Kedar, Chuni, and other devotees who believe in the personal God. On the other side was a luminous space like a heap of red brick dust. Inside it was seated Narendra, immersed in samadhi. Seeing him absorbed in meditation, I called aloud, "Oh, Narendra!" He opened his eyes a little. I came to realize that he had been born in another form in Shimla. That's the part of Calcutta where Swamiji was born, in a Kayasta family. At once I said to the Divine Mother, Mother, entangle him in Maya, otherwise he will give up his body in samadhi. Kedar, a believer in the personal God, peeped in and ran away with a shudder. Therefore I feel that it is the Divine Mother herself who dwells in this body and plays with the devotees. When I first had my exalted state of mind, my body would radiate light. My chest was always flushed. Then I said to the Divine Mother, Mother, do not reveal thyself outwardly. Please go inside. That is why my complexion is so dull now. If my body were still luminous, people would have tormented me. A crowd would always have thronged here. Now there's no outer manifestation. That keeps weeds away. Only genuine devotees will remain with me now. Do you know why I have this illness? It has a significance. Those with devotion to me, those whose devotion to me has a selfish motive behind it, will run away at the sight of my illness. I cherished a desire. I said to Mother, Oh, Mother, I shall be the king of the devotees. Again, this thought arose in my mind. He who sincerely prays to God will certainly come here. He must. You see, that is what is happening now. Only people of that kind come. My parents knew who dwells inside this body. Father had a dream at Gaya. In that dream, Raghavir said to him, I shall be born as your son. God alone dwells inside this body. Such renunciation of lust and greed, could I have accomplished that by myself? I've never enjoyed a woman, not even in dream. Nangta instructed me in Vedanta. In 3 days, I went into samadhi. At the sight of my samadhi under the Madhavi vine, he was quite taken aback and exclaimed, What is this? Then he came to know who resides inside this body. He said to me, Please let me go. At these words of Totapuri, I went into an ecstatic mood and said, You cannot go till I realize the truth of Vedanta. Day and night I lived with him. We talked only Vedanta. The Brahmani used to say to me, Don't listen to Vedanta, you will injure your devotion to God. I said to the Divine Mother, Mother, please get me a rich man. If you don't, how shall I be able to protect this body? How shall I be able to keep the sadhus and devotees near me? That is why Mathur Babu provided my needs for 14 years. He who dwells in me tells me beforehand what particular class of devotees will come to me. When I have a vision of Gauranga, I know that devotees of Gauranga are coming. When I have a vision of Kali, the Shaktas come. At the time of the evening service, I used to cry out from the roof of the kuti, weeping, Oh, where are you all? Come to me. You see, they're all gathering here one by one. God himself dwells in this body. It is he who, of his own accord, is working with these devotees. What a wonderful state of mind some of the devotees have. The younger Naran gets kumbhaka, that's when your breathing stops, without any effort, and samadhi too. Sometimes he stays in ecstatic mood for 2.5 hours, sometimes even more. How wonderful. I've practiced all kinds of sadhana, jnana yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga. I've even gone through the exercises of hatha yoga to increase longevity. There's another person dwelling in this body. Otherwise, after attaining samadhi, how could I live with devotees and enjoy the love of God? Kaur Singh used to say to me, I have never seen a person who has returned from the plane of samadhi. You are none other than Nanak. That's referring to Guru Nanak. I live in the midst of worldly people on every side. On all sides I see lust and greed. Nevertheless, this is the state of my mind, unceasing samadhi and pava. That is the reason Pratap said at the sight of my ecstatic mood, good heavens, it looks as if you were possessed by a ghost. Rakhal M. and others were speechless as they drank in this account of Ramakrishna's unique experiences. But did Mahimacharan understand the import of these words? Even after hearing them, he said to the master, these things have happened to you on account of your meritorious actions in your past births. Mahima still thought that Ramakrishna was a sadhu or a devotee of God. The master nodded assent to Mahima's words and said, yes, the result of past actions. God is like an aristocrat who has many mansions. Here, referring to himself, is one of his drawing rooms. The bhakta is God's drawing room. It was 9 o'clock in the evening. Ramakrishna was sitting on the small couch. It was Mahimacharan's desire to form a brahmachakra, and that is a mystic circle prescribed in the Tantra. So it was Mahimacharan's desire to form a brahmachakra in the presence of the master. Mahima formed a circle on the floor with Rakhal M. Kishori and 1 or 2 other devotees. He asked them to all meditate. Rakhal went into an ecstatic state. The master came down from the couch and placed his hand on Rakhal's chest, repeating the name of the Divine Mother. Rakhal regained consciousness of the outer world. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, the 14th day of the dark fortnight of the moon. There was intense darkness everywhere. 1 or 2 devotees were pacing the concrete embankment of the Ganges. Ramakrishna was up. He came out and said to the devotees, Nangta told me that at this time, about midnight, one hears the anahata sound, that's Om. In the early hours of the morning, Mahimacharan and M laid down on the floor of the master's room. Rakhal slept on a camp cot. Now and then, Ramakrishna paced up and down the room with his clothes off, like a 5-year-old child. And that is the end of that day. We'll begin on August 10th, the next week. Okay, so this tomorrow, Pravrajika Krishna Purana will speak on It's Not Really Chaos, and we will have a reading of the Glimpses of a Great Soul, a portrait of Swami Sardananda. That will be Wednesday at 5 p.m., and again, another, what's the date? Actually, a week from today, Swami Sarvadevananda will be giving his Bhagavad Gita class on Saturday at 5 p.m. All right. So, any questions or comments about anything that we read? Sunanda, did your kitty understand every word?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Took it all in. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see the higher level of mind just expanding there. Yes. Okay, then I'll conclude with a chant. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you for joining. Good to
Thank
see
you.
Good to see you all.
Thank you.
Bye, Lita. Bye, everybody.